Yeah.
to do Lay It on the Line. And I guess we'll start there because, of course, today comes news that there's going to be this Triumph tour. Gil, we'll start with you. Where were the seeds of this planted? Did it happen?
Eddie Trunk's taking some well-deserved time off. Lucky for you, we record every show. Listen back and pick out the absolute best of Trunk Nation. Best conversations, best guests, and best callers. This is the best of Trunk Nation on Sirius XM's Faction Talk.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Eddie Trunk, and this is the best of Trunk Nation on this Wednesday. I am off today and tomorrow. I will be back live with you guys, though, on Friday for a Free-for-All Friday. So make sure you remember to call in. We'll be taking your calls and getting you caught up on everything going on in rock when the show returns live this coming Friday. But best of today for you is a double dip from two different shows from last year. We're going to start in December of last year with my interview with Triumph. And the reason we're doing this again is because Triumph, as you know, has just started their U.S. tour. But in December, the guys called in to talk about reuniting. They actually joined me on the air the day the reunion was announced. They have been teasing this. There was discussions about it. Previous to this, I went to Canada and helped them launch a tribute album. And then on this day in December of last year, they announced the official news that they were getting back together for a reunion tour, which is now underway in the U.S. and Canada. Mike Levine, Gil Moore, and Rick Emmett joined me to talk about it. By the way, there is also video of this interview available on YouTube at Eddie Trunk. But let's take you back to that right now. And then next, an interview with Ted Nugent. So stick around. That's a little bit later on. Right now, let's get you to Triumph on the best of Trunk Nation. All right, it's Eddie Trunk, and it's always a great, great honor to be joined by a band that I've been a fan of forever and good friends as well, and who made a huge announcement earlier today about something that, well, I'll be honest, I never saw coming and I didn't think was going to happen. But yes, Triumph is back, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard earlier today, a tour of Canada and the U.S. announced. And joining me to talk about it are the original three members of the band. Gil Moore. Gil, good to see you and talk to you. How are you?
Good to see you, Eddie. Everything's fine. Living the dream in the Canadian winter that's about to start.
And we're saying see because we're doing this on Zoom, so we'll be able to put this out for you guys to see as well. Of course, you're hearing it now, but we will have video for you guys also. And speaking of Canadian winter, a guy that I just spent some time with where it was much warmer in Cancun, Rick Emmett. Rick, good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you too, Eddie. You survived and managed to get back all right with it. You didn't bring any of the Mexican revenge with you or any of that stuff.
No, I did okay with that, thankfully. No problems there. And the one guy that didn't abandon me when I came to Toronto to see you, because we sat in the studio and we had a great dinner and everything, and that, of course, is bassist Mike Levine. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good, Eddie. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Of course, I'm joking because last time I was with the three of you guys in any way, the Triumph tribute record had just come out and Mike Klink had joined us. And then, of course, Gil and Rick got the call to go up and it was in Winnipeg, right? You went to Winnipeg or Edmonton yeah, to do Lay It on the Line. And I guess we'll start there because, of course, today comes news that there's going to be this Triumph tour. Gil, we'll start with you. Where were the seeds of this planted? Did it have anything to do with you guys coming together with, we know that Todd Kearns, Brent Fitz, Phil X are going to be part of this. They were there. Was that kind of the genesis for this? Is that where this kind of started?
Yeah, I mean, it started in I've said this a couple times, with you and others, that Paul Dexter and I started playing with an idea of how to bring back Triumph, in some sort of immersive platform. We kind of coined the name MXR Vision for mixed reality, and we went through all kinds of different technologies and so on. But one day, you just mentioned Mike Klink, and we were we were looking at this differently, and Mike Klink said, "Hey, you've got these great musicians that are on this album. Maybe you should think about maybe getting back with Phil." And so we talked to Phil, and one thing kind of led to another. It was kind of a series of stepping stones with the hockey uh, thing that blew up in Canada during the NHL playoffs. Kind of triggered us, yeah, to your point, going out to Edmonton and giving it a run with the new guys without any effects or any fancy stuff, just getting on the stage and playing. And everyone really gelled, and so here we are, and feeling like we kind of have been saying no to fans for decades, and we've got a chance to say yes. So I guess we said yes to the dress.
The stuff, and I know this came up before, Gil, a couple times, even during the when we were together for the tribute record. There was this idea of some sort of triumph. I guess necessarily not a hologram, but some sort of like technology that would represent you guys. Is this tour that was announced today? Is this that? Is that being integrated, or is that a separate thing, or is that not happening anymore? Like, what is the actual status of that?
I'd say it's partially integrated. I mean, it's this is a full-on rock and roll show that's going to hit everyone right in the chest like that thump. So it's going to be everything that a normal show would be, I guess. But we always were intent on trying to have a theatrical aspect to all the concerts we ever played. Everybody knows that. This is the next step. It's the next logical level that we're trying to take it to. We're trying to surprise everybody. We're trying to, just say, hey, you never thought you were going to see this. Well, guess what? Here it is.
And it's, in a way, it's almost a bit of a hybrid thing, right? Because you have bands that are going out there and they're doing nothing but some sort of projection or hologram or something like that. Then you have bands that go out there and, frankly, they're touring with no original members and putting out almost a sanctioned tribute. This is almost, in a way, a bit of a mashup, because you're bringing in the visual element. You're also bringing in supporting musicians, but you guys are all still a part of this and are going to be out there as well. So it's kind of unique in that way, I think.
Well, think of it this way, Eddie. When we were known for having, like big theatrical show playing arenas back in the day, and then, we went out and played, a lot. We played a lot outdoors with nothing, but the US Festival, I guess, being the one that's, a lot of fans remember, where we just went out there. It's just the three guys were playing. There's no lights, there's no pyro, there's no nothing. It's just us. And so this would be potentially the same thing. I mean, this particular tour is all indoor, I believe. There's a lot of amphitheaters in the States, so I suppose those are outdoor, but if you know what I mean, they're covered, and so on and so forth. But yeah, musically, this would be the same principle. Like if there was an outdoor festival and we wanted to play daylight and have nothing, fine, we could do it. There'd be no issues going that route. But I suppose what we're trying to do here, because this is mainly, either amphitheaters or arenas. So this is I'll call it an indoor presentation versus an outdoor festival stage kind of thing.
Rick, let's get you involved here. Did you know about this when we were together in Mexico and you were laying low about it, or did you, because you were, when you guys weren't there, Gil and Mike weren't there, but Rick came out and he just with a guitar and he sang some of the songs, and it was funny because he kept talking about like the original tunings and here's how I'm going to do it now and all of that. But he sounded great no matter what he did, and everyone's like, "You got to go out and do something." So, Rick, get us up to speed from your perspective on all this.
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, as we are talking now, this thing is still in a development stage, because this isn't going to actually start hitting the road until probably April. So,
right.
And you mentioned the fact that we did do this sort of little dry runny thing that was in Edmonton. Tried out these guys. So we have a sort of an understanding, and we're developing a script, and Gil has had this dream that he's been carrying around for decades, and it will all sort of come together. The reason I didn't say anything to you when we were in Cancun together was because I wasn't sure. It hadn't necessarily got to the point where management and Live Nation and promoters and all the rest of this stuff, that these things have to align in a way that a momentum starts to occur, you know. But had I agreed in principle? Yes, you know. Am I still in agreement in principle? Yes. Like, you know, something could happen at any minute between Gil and Mike, and I could say, like, what are you idiots considering that I'm not in for that. I'm not going there. That what are you talking about? But generally speaking, so far, it's been within my wheelhouse. And I go, okay. Now, you mentioned like there's songs that I did where for years, I had been slowly but surely moving keys down and tuning my guitars down a bit. There's things that you have to do when you're 72 years of age. You know, one of them was that I retired. You know, and that's like, no, you can't do that. You wait, you have to do it. But I have been making adjustments, and I will continue to make them between now and April. But as you're very kind to say, in front of an audience, there's people that love those songs so much, it seems like I can't butcher them bad enough that they go, oh, that was terrible. That people go, oh, this was great. Oh, yeah, I loved hearing these songs. And at the bottom of it all, Eddie, I think that's the truth of it, is that there's these songs that we can kind of pepper the set with, that they're just songs that work and they make people go, yeah. What a great hunk of truth that is. What a beautiful trip down memory lane that is. What a soundtrack for my life that is. And I think when you've got those things, I think it helps to elevate the proceedings up. It's no longer a sort of just a jukebox experience, you know, the conventional thing. I think it becomes something more than that. And I think that Triumph always had that ability. Gil alluded to that we could go out and play an outdoor festival and play the songs. And it worked because the songs worked. So I think we'll be all right. You know, we'll find out.
Well, it always comes down to the songs, and you know, if the audience is going to sing them back to you as loudly as you're going to sing them, and probably as high as you once were able to sing them as well. So you'll be more than well covered there, I'm sure. Mike, jump in here. What are your thoughts about all this? Now, you didn't make the trip to Edmonton when they did that. You stayed back with me and we did the interview. But what are your thoughts about all this? And are you looking forward to it as well?
I think it's fantastic, Eddie. I think it's going to be unique. Will it be groundbreaking? Maybe. But I think every fan that comes to see what goes on inside a hockey rink or an amphitheater is going to walk out of there going, "Wow."
So Gil, are you? As you referenced, Triumph were known for the big light shows and the lasers and all the stuff that you did. Are you going to be able to incorporate some of that into this run? Are you guys working on that now as far as the stage production?
All of it and more, you know, it'll be an extra scoop of ice cream. It'll be so much Haagen-Dazs on there, it'll probably tip over, you know. It's a go big or go home concept, Eddie. The cool thing, seriously, the cool thing, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but what Paul and I set out to do, and this is, you know, if you think about mixed reality, that just what it just hits you right away. It's a mixture of things that are real and not real. So the idea is we've got so much technology now to make things kind of surreal, take you on a little trip, but we still have the good old stuff that you know, hits you in the chest. And it's blending that, and hopefully we get the blend right, and you know, it'll really be hopefully be something that is, as Mike said, totally, you know, unique. But we're going to have to, as Rick said, you know, there's a lot of experimental stuff. We're going to rehearse for, you know, 1 week at Metalworks Studios on the music, and then 2 weeks in an arena with a full production, and then the first gig we actually go play, we do a full rehearsal in the arena the night before. So we're giving ourselves a lot of chance here, a lot of chances to get it right. But there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts. So it should be fun. You know, we slip on a banana peel, so be it.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just announced today, so obviously there's a lot still to be figured out. The first date, by the way, is in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, GFL Memorial Gardens, and that's April 22nd. And it initially starts logically with a bunch of dates in Canada, and I'm sure there's a lot of excitement there in Canada now with this announcement. You know, Gil, we talk a lot about Rick and his voice because it was so extraordinarily high, and you know him having to do that stuff. For you, I mean, you sang probably 50% of the Triumph songs yourself as a singing drummer. How do you feel about where you're at vocally now and what you're going to want to tackle?
Well, I've had to tune my drums down, just like Rick said about the guitars. So I'm set. I'm good to go. I tuned the drums down. Should be no problem.
But you feel
I'm getting a new microphone. I talked to Harry Witz today, our incredible sound man, who just got back from doing AC/DC in Australia. And you know, he moved the seismic whatever when he was over there, and it was all over the news. And so he's looking to move the seismic needle with Triumph too. And we were on a Zoom with him
AC/DC,
today,
right?
and he's so excited. And he said, "Gil, you got to use this new microphone. I got this new microphone for you, you know." And I go, "Eddie, the other one I have is there." I says, "Harry, I should say, it's perfect. It's only 35 years old. It's almost new. Why are we getting a new mic?" Anyway, we're getting a new mic. Santa's bringing me a new mic.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. Mike Levine, are you going to be involved in this? Are you going to be out there on the road? Are you going to be doing these shows? Where are you at your involvement in this?
I'm going to be. I suppose the best way to describe it is I'll be there in person and or visually, but I'll be there.
So we might get a Mike Levine hologram?
Maybe.
I hope it has the same fashion that we had back in the 80s from Mike Levine.
I don't know. I auctioned all those clothes off, gave the money to charity.
So Rick, jump in here and tell us this. Triumph is now basically, if I have this right, and Mike is part of this, gone from a 3-piece to essentially a 6-piece, right? Because Brent Fitz, Todd Kearns, dear friends, as well as Phil X, also a good friend, are going to be a part of this on the road, right? So talk about the balance between what you guys do and what they do. You've been very honest about the fact that they're there in a supporting capacity to fill out the sound and fill in where you guys can't at this point in your career. But talk about how that's going to work, and have you figured that all out yet as far as what they do versus what you guys do?
That's an ongoing thing. And, you know, every day I sit down with the script and I look at the tunes and I think about it. And the big thing is, first of all, they're incredibly skilled and talented and experienced musicians in their own right. And they deserve to end up feeling like they're as much a part of this as Gil and Mike and I are. I want them to feel that sense of sort of ownership and pride in what's going on, because and this goes back to the songs again and the way that we present them. Those songs have a life of their own, but you know, I think this hunger that everybody is understanding is out there now for Triumph to come back and play these songs. I think that hunger will be sustained by those guys, even if, you know, we get old and infirm and you know, we can't necessarily do it. I think the songs are still going to be there. And if those younger guys want to, you know, start carrying a bigger workload, I think they could. In the short term, I'm going to tell you this. I know that they can all sing fantastic. And there was a moment in Edmonton when it actually made it onto social media where Gil and I and those 3 guys, in the trailer, we were just singing, lay it on the line, background vocals to warm up. And I thought, okay, this was a great moment. It was one of my favorite moments in that experience out there. And I thought that should be part of the show. We should have moments where, like, the band should cut out and lay it on the line. We should just sing the harmonies. It should just be, and we can do that in Fight the Good Fight. We can do that in songs that we never did it originally, because now we've got this. It's like another arrow in my quiver. You know, it's another tool on the. I go, okay, like there's things I want to try and take advantage of. You know, so And they're all incredibly skilled in the ideas of Fitzy can play keyboard parts, and Todd is as good a guitar player as he is a bass player. Like there's
Yes.
so many playing cards that are on the table now. I go, oh, I can't. Those people that are only listening on radio, I'm rubbing my hands in glee. That's what's happening. Like this is going to be a really fun thing to get to play with over the next little while, and then those weeks that Gil was talking about, those dress rehearsals and stuff, man. I think there's going to be an opportunity to build some things. Never mind the big production that Gil's talking about and where this whole thing started. Just musically, artistically, there's going to be something here that's going to be quite something.
The other thing we should add about those other three guys, which I'm sure was a criteria, is even though they all three live in the U.S., they're all Canadian. So was that a prerequisite, Gil? You had to make sure that they were Canadian?
They're all icebacks. Yep, that's it. We got to have those Canadian boys. So that's quite funny, actually, that it worked out that way. But you know, it's funny because Triumph, we loved America and we love Americans, and we had, the bulk of our success and the bulk of the shows we played in our career was, all in America. And all those states are like 50 great countries. So it's fun to visit them all. And now we got, the guys we're just talking about, they're all living. I think Fitzy lives in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, and Phil's in LA. Where's Todd?
Todd's here. Todd's here in Vegas as well.
Las Vegas as well. In fact, Todd just had a thing on one of his sites where he talked about Vegas had a Todd Kearns Day. And this was a while back where he, like, the key to the city, like we got in San Antonio and in Buffalo, like Todd had a Las Vegas Todd Kearns Day. And I go, well, this guy might be a bigger rock star than
well, yeah, I mean, I'm here in Vegas now, and they both have been to my house many times. They're dear friends, and we do a radio show where I was telling Gil, I think before you came on, Rick, we call it the Canadian Roundtable, and the two of them and myself, we just sit around for an entire show, and people call in from Canada and name all these obscure bands, and they fire right back with every detail you could possibly want to know about every one of them. So in addition to being great musicians, they are also big fans, obviously, which certainly helps because they're probably going to get in your ear and start hitting you up with songs they want to do that you might have even forgotten about if I know them.
Yes. Well, hey, bring it on. I think it'll be fun. Gil, didn't you tell me that when this was in its initial stages, you went to Phil and then you asked Phil for some recommendations, and Phil kind of was hand selecting those guys, or they were at the top of his list or something?
Yeah, Phil said, when I convinced, Phil, that this was something to, and at first I think he thought, oh, this is, fanciful, it's not going to happen. And then he realized, no, it's serious, it's going to happen. So when it came to getting, filling the other spots in and stuff, and he said, like, who do you want me to get? And he was kind of, going through this, and this. And I said, it's really simple. Got to find some people that have great hearts. Like all these guys we're talking about, they're really good players, but we want people that, are going to be good in the dressing room. So we want to get good people. And he goes right to Todd and Brent. And he says, that settles it. I got the guys. And it's because of how they are as people, in addition to all their talent. They're very, very talented, as Rick said, tremendously talented people, but it's who they are. That's why they were picked, and Phil picked them.
And Phil, of course, for those that don't know, had history with Triumph a long time ago, where when Rick was not in the band, Phil was many years ago as Rick's replacement. So, you guys had a long history with him going back to them. Rick, were you worried, like, oh my God, they're bringing him in again to replace me?
No. The total opposite. Like, I would have been, if somebody had said, well, it's just going to be you original three guys, I would have been far more reluctant than when they came to me and said, and guess who else we've got? And, in my mind, I'm thinking, Phil X. Like, I definitely want to give this guy so much rope that he hangs himself like I because he's such an incredible player and he's a different kind of a player than I am, in way like he can play that whole world of sort of the Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, like just he's got a virtuosity that it's not a part of my playing at all. But he has all this experience. He's been out on the road with, Bon Jovi and that. And I think maybe he's going to get an opportunity to stretch himself a little bit more and maybe, have a little bit more leeway. In the end, I kind of think of it as Triumph is a band that doesn't really have like a musical leader. Gil's kind of the leader in certain ways. When we first started in the early days, Mike was kind of the guy that was the producer in the studio, and was a leader in that respect. But I think all of these guys that we've got, and Phil in particular, they have leadership capability in certain ways, and I want Phil's star to shine. I'm happy to kind of take a back seat, move back upstage a little bit and let him have some room.
Well, yeah, and as you mentioned, Phil plays with Bon Jovi, who's doing some shows coming up, and Fitz and Kearns, they play with a ton of people, but their primary thing is with Slash. Thankfully, Slash's record's not coming until 27, so it looks like you guys should have enough time with them at least in 26. So if this goes forward beyond the dates that were announced today, with those guys, I guess you're going to have to do some juggling to figure out in terms of schedules and make things work with their other responsibilities, I would think.
It'll all work out, Eddie. It'll all be fine.
Mike looks very confident. Mike looks like Mike's just like, it's all good, right, Mike? Everything's fine, right?
You're asking all the right questions, Eddie. And you're getting all the right answers. Everything will be fine.
It'll be perfect, Eddie. If it doesn't work out, we'll take 2 weeks off and then quit.
Well, you do a farewell tour from the farewell tour. Have you given any thought now that Triumph is back? And again, for those that have not seen the dates, it starts April 22nd next year and currently runs through June 6th, ending in Boston. Depending upon where you are listening in the U.S. or Canada, we'll get all the areas people should go to get the information here in a second. But you should also know that tickets are going on sale, general public this Friday, and pre-sales starting tomorrow. So you got pre-sale opportunities tomorrow and Thursday. General on sale is on Friday. The pre-sale stuff, do you guys know on that? Is that fan club? Is that tied in with people signing up in some way? Gil, do you have any information on the pre-sales?
I don't, the whole ticketing thing has changed so much. I don't even fully understand it, to be honest with you. So I don't have a good answer.
I was told there's a link in the press release that will be on the Triumph website. I think it's there now that you can click on and you get on the pre-sale list for that.
Okay. And are you guys overall looking forward to being back on the road? I mean, it's been a long time since you've toured like this, where, looking through these dates, there's back-to-backs, there's 2 or 3 and a day off here and there. I mean, this is not Weekend Warrior. This is not coming in, playing on a Saturday and Sunday and going home. This is getting back on a bus and traveling and all that. Something that you missed? Is it something that you look forward to again? I mean, comment on that if you will. If you want, you can start with you, Rick.
I do not look forward to the 22 and a half hours outside of the, joyous 90 minutes you get on stage. However, at my age and stage, it's also a thing where I kind of go, and literally before I sat down to do this interview, I was over on my elliptical machine and I was saying, okay, I should try and carve off maybe 8 to 10 pounds. I should be singing every day. I should be playing guitar, twice as much as I normally do. Like, I want to kind of get myself back into road shape before I go so that I will enjoy it. But I did have a conversation today with the guy that's our manager, and I was saying, okay, send me the itinerary again. How many days off? When are we going to get a chance to come home? Because it is something that I'm concerned about. I'm not going to candy coat that or try to fluff it off. Um, I had retired at a certain point in my life, and you and I have talked about this in previous times. I got cancer. I had to go for treatment. I beat it. I came out the other side. I'm feeling good. I feel like I can be strong of mind and strong of body. But I think it will be a challenge. I think there's a reason why it's April to June, and then we're going to go, okay, let's reassess, and I think that that's reasonable for guys that are in their 70s. So, I'm not going to try and pretend that it's not something that I'm looking at and thinking, whoa, is this like, did I just sign up to climb Kilimanjaro? Is is this a bridge too far? What have I done? But I have this kind of cautious optimism, and I think part of it is just being back with these two clowns and feeling the vibe of that. The conversations, the writing of scripts, the meetings with Paul Dexter and Harry Witz in a Zoom thing, and all these guys, and you go, okay, the rock and roll machine is reloading. Like it's for real, and there's an energy to that I don't think. Yeah, I'll tell you this. Jason Murray, Vector, he was talking to me about the fact that Peter Frampton, it was like, no, he's going to go out for a few shows, and this is going to be the last, and he's having, and he got out there and he said, you know what, book more shows. I want to play. The time that I'm on stage is the best time of my life, and I feel like I'm getting a new lease on life. And I do think that there's maybe I'm not a road dog, but I am a rock and roll machine kind of dog, So if the machine cranks back up again, I'm going to feel like, oh yeah, I remember what these bones, I remember how this works.
And with Frampton, it's a little bit of a different situation because he actually has a medical condition and he didn't think he was going to be able to keep doing it. So every time he comes back and adds shows, I'm really happy because it means he's feeling well enough to do it. And people have seen him say he's still very good. And I think, as a fan, that's all I care about. I don't care what guys look like anymore or anything. I just want it to be a good representation and a great, I always say the bands that I love, and Triumph is certainly one of them, you want to see them last forever, but you don't want to see them any band, you don't want, in my view, you don't want to stay too long at the party, as the term says, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, why are they still doing this? It's not, it's a shell of what it once was. So, and I have no doubt that's not going to be the case with this, especially given the guys that are part of the supporting cast that we touched on. Mike, for you, what are your thoughts about the road again? How much do you feel you're going to be able to do? And are you excited to be back out there when you can do it?
Yeah, I've been having trouble for the last 30 years not driving to the airport every 4 days. Uh, every time I go past the airport, I would quantum veer to the right and take the exit because I did it for so many years. But I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. That's one of the reasons I'm all in on this, that there's the fun aspect as well as a creative aspect and turning the fans on and being around the fans and being able to interface with that whole audience to the band to the audience reaction and interreaction. That's like there's a buzz there that you can't get anywhere else.
And Gil, as many people know, you have run a very, very successful major studio in Toronto, Metalworks. So you've been, by your own admission, ensconced in the studio world. I know you've even said on a few occasions you didn't play all that much, and you were rusty as a drummer. You really didn't, you let it go at some point. What's your prep like to get ready to do this? And did you miss the road?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I missed the road. I missed the fans, but I was always doing something else. And, I wanted to be up here in Toronto. As I've said many times, I wanted to be around my mother for her last decade of her life, and I wanted to be there with my kids. So I I got to do what I wanted to do, but yeah, you can't help but miss, some of the highlights of, what Triumph was when we were touring. So, I mean, as far as preparation now, I just look at it as a huge challenge. I mean, it's one thing to play drums it was certain types of music. It's a power trio is another thing, right? So we're having Brent out there and having two drummers is imperative. Like I wouldn't pretend that I could do what I did, back in the day. It's a real young man's sport, that power trio drumming stuff. But yeah, I'm working really hard on it. Actually, started working. I got a set of drums, set up in my gym at home. So I'm smacking those drums every single day, and getting a trainer as well, and vocal coaching, the whole bit, just to try to get inspired. And I want to do the best job I can do, not let any of the bandmates down, not let the fans down. But I don't know what the limitations are, honestly, Eddie. This is like such a new thing for me. It's going to be fun to see how it works out, but I'll do the best I can.
But from a drumming standpoint, because that's an important thing you just mentioned, so you will have two kits out there. So Fitz and yourself will play at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of the time, or just him by himself, or maybe me by myself at times. We're going to work that out. But yeah, I think that's obviously with our style of music, having like a powerhouse rhythm coming off the drum riser is important, and he's just the guy to work with, and he's so up on technology too. Like he's already hit me up to a bunch of things that have happened with drums and accessories to drums and everything that are they're really exciting. So like I've never played on in-ear monitors as an example. Everyone's on in-ear monitors, so I'm getting my first in-ear monitors on Monday, and I start working with them. So it's like, all new, Eddie, and got to just, I guess, embrace the challenge. And I guess the reward at the end of the day is that, as opposed to seeing these things all the time on social media, but I wish they'd tour, I wish they'd tour. It's like, okay, well, here it comes. So
Careful what you wish for.
yeah,
Yeah, and
Here come three old guys on a giant leap of faith. Would be ugly.
but Triumph effectively going from a 3-piece to a 6-piece opens up all sorts of opportunities, because my mind's going during this, because I'm thinking, okay, if Fitz is playing drums on a song, as I mentioned before, Gil, you sang lead vocals on like half the Triumph catalog. So that means you might be able to come out as a front man and just sing, right? I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities.
Hey,
Yeah,
did somebody? I must have slipped Eddie some money, because this is exactly what I've been trying to. I go, Gil, you gotta. There was a thing in the documentary where Sebastian Bach goes, and then Gil Moore, he comes down off the drums and he's walking around in the front of the stage, and I go, oh my God, the drummer is the front man. I go, yeah, we got to do that. We got to have that happen. Gil's got to come down and be the front man.
Oh, see how that works out. It's like you said, Eddie, it's another possibility. And obviously playing drums and singing at the same time, playing drums and singing simultaneously, obviously, it again makes it that much harder, right? Because I remember seeing this thing on Physical Fitness years ago, a report, and they said that the analyzed athletes like hockey players, baseball players, all of these people and musicians, and the highest cardio levels were rock drummers and rock singers. It was a really interesting report. They were above all the other athletes, and I thought, that's interesting. What if you're doing both at the same time? Like, do you get an extra blue star for that, or
You're the Mr. Olympia of rock and roll.
Orchestra conductors, because they work with their arms up, and of course, drummers are always working with their arms up, but their cardio is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's really
to try to figure out a way to take less physical out of it to get more action with less work to try to create stronger endurance.
All
You
your
know,
cymbals have to come down to waist level.
I, I don't know. I was talking
You won't have
to
to work as hard.
yeah, to Dave Patel today, and he says, "What are you trying to accomplish?" And I said, "The stuff that uh, other drummers have figured out that weren't playing in power trios,
Yeah.
and so that's just something that's a change for me. It's a learning curve. Ian
But
Pace had it figured out. Like he made big sound, but he did it almost from a jazzish platform.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. But there's so many possibilities here with this because Mike, as we talked about, Todd plays bass, but he's equally great on guitar. So if you're out there playing bass, he could go over to guitar. And Rick, for you, I mean, you've got Phil there playing guitar, you've got Todd, and Fitz, even though he's known as a drummer, as you mentioned, he plays everything. He plays bass, he plays keys. So you guys really have like 6 people now that there's so much interchangeability that could happen here that could make this really work on so many levels. It's fascinating as I'm just talking to you, my mind's turning, knowing everyone so well on how this could all break out. And I'm sure you're still figuring that all out, right? I mean, you're still in the early game here.
Yes. Yeah.
First
That's
six-piece power trio of all time, Eddie.
Last thing, 2 quick things, and I'll let you go. I know it's early in the going here, but has there been thought to new Triumph music?
Well, Mike, we haven't really discussed it as a band, but I have had conversations with Jason about it. Can't remember, maybe with Phil too, but I think that would be really cool, Eddie. I just, would love to see like what kind of music, would emanate from the creative team at this point. It could be really something. And let's face it, we've got a studio we can get inexpensively because we know the guy. So if we go in there and we don't like it, it can stay there.
But even a
If we like
single
it,
or something. Yeah, I mean,
out it can go.
it's very the thing now. I'm personally not a fan of this because I'm old school and I like full records. But the move now seems to be people kind of putting out a track or two, putting a couple songs out, just kind of getting some feel for it. Rick, is there any interest to you in making new music with Triumph?
I see. In one of the answers I gave to one of your questions down in Cancun, I must have talked about the idea of creativity and how it's always an ongoing thing for me. I write poetry books and I write songs and I, you know, collect these things the way squirrels collect nuts, and I bury them in places and then I don't remember where I put them. I can go back into my 3 ring binders and I could probably find 8, 10 songs that might make good Triumph songs. And of course, sometimes I would bring songs to these 2 guys back in the day, and they would go, Rick, I don't know what you think you're doing, but that's not a Triumph song. That couldn't ever possibly be one. And even at that, I would fight and say, no, I really want to. And then sometimes they would say, okay, Rick, all right. We'll let you put Suitcase Blues on the end of the album. It'll like a little PS thing. It'll be great. And it deserves to be on an album because it's a good song. So, but it's not like a Triumph song, except we did it so often that then people went, well, Triumph, you never know what to expect. So one minute they're a blues band and they're playing Young Enough to Cry, and then the next minute they're playing Suitcase Blues and it's a jazz trio, and I don't know what happened and why is this even on the record. And then, like Gil was talking about, Lay It on the Line, sometimes a song it's so good that you don't have to mess with it much. It's already a Triumph song. So if you're asking me, do I have material that is like that? Yes, because I have always have. Would Mike and Gil buy in? Maybe. And then what about Todd and and Phil, and like what could it become as a recording thing? That really interests me. The idea of using the studio as a tool to generate something because let's face it, there used to be a world, and this is the world that Triumph kind of came out of, was album rock. Albums that got made to get onto radio that were out that were album radio kinds of formats, FM radio. And it was the thing of Led Zeppelin and the thing of Pink Floyd and why the Beatles became the Beatles that they were in the last half of the 60s. Like all of that stuff. And that still intrigues me and interests me like crazy. Like I like the idea of you're going to make an album. You're not going to make an EP. You're not going to make a couple of songs and put them out on Spotify and see how it goes. Like, no, you're going to make an album and take people on a journey. The same way that Gil loved a rock show to be something that took people someplace and did something special and different and unique. And that was your responsibility. I felt that way about albums. So I still do. So, if somebody chucks that gauntlet in my, general vicinity, I'm probably going to pick it up.
Mike, your thoughts on new music?
I come from a partially Rick school of thought when it comes to albums. And you've probably heard the same thing that I heard for years, that nobody wants to hear new music by old bands, right? They don't care. They want to hear the songs that they know. They're not interested in new music. So you kind of put that off to the side and go, well, forget about that one for now. But at the same time, if you come up with the right mix of songs, you can have an album, quote unquote. A lot of stuff now is because you could make an unlimited album. You could make a 5 CD album with 800 songs on it, and that's an album still. But if you create 8 great songs and put them on vinyl, there's an album, and I'm in for that.
Yeah, and I think that for me, I love new music from, as long as it's good, of course, from bands, older bands and bands that I grew up with. But the thing about it is, and I've talked to many bands about this, you got to go into it with realistic expectations. You got to go into it knowing it's for the hardcore fans that want it. If you go into it with these grand ideas, if it's going to be a rock radio hit and it's going to sell 1 million copies, unfortunately, that's probably a better shot at hitting the lottery. But for the fans that want it, and for the artist, for you guys creatively, if it's something you want to get out and you want to do and you want to exercise that muscle, I think it's great. It's just that I think the problem comes in when you talk to artists and think that it's going to be a game changer in this big, big song, because unfortunately, to your point, Mike, it could be a great song, but the infrastructure is just not there for that to happen. So I think you go into it with and it sounds like you can get a good deal on the studio, then why not do it? You get a good rate on the studio. The overhead's not too bad.
That's the key.
Do that with Cardi B. That'll go over.
Right. Gil will only take a couple points off the record, off the top, for doing it at the studio, right? Do a deal on it.
We're going to have fun, Eddie. That's what this whole, isn't rock and roll supposed to be fun? That's what
Absolutely.
I want to have happen, whether it's the recording or the live shows or whatever. I want to have a lot of laughs with some great guys. And I think we've got, all the right players in the dressing room right now. So I think we're going to have a whale of a time.
Well, knowing you guys and knowing those guys, yeah, knowing them as well as I do, I would agree. And I'm just looking through these dates, and I notice Texas, 3 shows in Texas, May 20, Irving, 21, San Antonio, 22, Houston, 3 in a row in May in Texas. And when I look down the routing here of that, I know that's probably very important to you guys, because Texas was a big area for Triumph back in the day, right? So there's got to be a lot of excitement in Texas right now that you guys are coming back, I would imagine.
Yeah, we're going to do San Antonio. I think they're trying to tie it into something like, was it the 500th birthday? Does that make sense? Do you guys know? I know there was a milestone for San Antonio, and they were going to try to tie the concert to that, which would be really an honor, because they were a special place for us. I mean, all of Texas was, but San Antonio being where the initial spark was ignited.
Yeah, and the last date the last date you have listed as announced today is Boston on June 6th as the final show. Is the plan to just kind of get through this, as you said, Rick, see how this feels, and then see where you go from there? And if this goes well and everybody feels good, logically you'd think there'd be another leg somewhere down the line, because there are areas of the country, of course, that you're missing. You're not on the West Coast at all. So is the idea to feel this out and then look at that down the line?
I'm sure people that are in higher positions in this organization than I am contemplating these kinds of thoughts. Yes. I'm just wondering, will I survive until the middle of June? And if I do make it that far, then I'm going to say, I need some time, people. Give me a few weeks just to get my bearings back and see if I can, entertain the notion of a West Coast thing, because it's a long way to go to the flights to get there. But I mean, having said that, we're going to be able to play on this front run. There's one that's sort of Detroit area. There's one that's kind of Chicago area. There's one that's sort of, is St. Louis on there somewhere, Kansas City-ish. Boston,
yes,
you mentioned.
Both
are we
St.
out
Louis
on
and
Long
Kansas
Island
City.
at some point?
You got Long Island.
Jones
Yes,
Beach.
Jones Beach.
Yeah. So these are places that I have really strong, memories of. Oh yeah, these were big markets for us. These were very memorable places to play. And then I go, well, then how come LA's not there? How come San Francisco's not there? Like, yes. So, it just seems logical that those things are going to happen. And look, the band's going to have two guys from Vegas. That seems like a sort of a no-brainer, right? Like, and maybe Gil will want to drive his car in the desert and make the tires smoke.
Well, I'm excited. I just, things keep hitting me, and I promise you I'll let you go. Opening acts, have you talked about, are there support acts for this yet? Have you decided yet? Is that public yet? Is there anything you can tell people as far as special guests, or that's not determined yet, Gil?
You know what? I don't know for sure. It's something I think that we may know before next week when it's announced, Eddie. But I don't know, or I would tell you. I know there's some acts that they're talking to, and that's kind of our management companies and our agents that are working on that.
All right. Well, we'll stand by and wait for that information to come out as well. Who would have thought? Here we are in closing out 2025, headed into 2026, and we have a Triumph tour to talk about in 2026. And hold on, this just hit me. We have a Rush tour going on in 2026. Did you guys in Toronto, the trios, get together and say, let's come back in 26?
When I heard Rush was going out, I asked Al, I said, man, what are the vitamins you're taking? Can you send some over? Good for them. They're doing fantastic, as they deserve to.
Yeah, Alex said to me so many times, it's it. I'm never doing the road again. I'm never doing the road again. And now he's going on like the biggest tour I've ever seen. So, just it's like the old Godfather thing. Just when you thought they're out, they pull you back in, But again, if everybody can still do it well, why not? And the music is there for, I think the other thing on this too, which might be really cool, and any of you guys can comment on this if you'd like, and Mike, we'll start with you, and just, I think there's an appeal here too, because look, I saw Triumph back in the day. I was talking to Chip, your PR guy. I was at the show at the Meadowlands with Mountain and Loudness. I remember the Rock and Roll Summit, it was called, I remember all that, but I'm 61. There's probably people there's a lot of people younger than me that probably got turned on to Triumph's music. It might have even been as recently as with the hockey theme using Lay It on the Line in Canada. So, there could be a whole new generation, Mike, that you guys might be seeing out there that never saw the band before.
Well, that was always the case, really. Even once upon a time, we used to call it the older brother syndrome. That the younger brother would get turned on to the band by listening to his older brother's records, and so you'd end up with the family, and then the father got into it. The whole family comes to the show. And that's something that that you can't quantify that. So the thing that's off the wall, like the hockey thing, that is like totally out of bounds, man. It's just out of bounds. Like the the amount of searching that was done, it was incredible. That's and I got sick of the song. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch hockey anymore. I had to turn the commercials off. But it was a brilliant commercial, and that's what made it all work. The music and the picture.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys are. I think you're dating yourself way too much, and I'm not just saying this. I think the three of you still look great. I just got done talking. I just got done spending time with Rick. He sounded great, and I don't think. Look, Mick Jagger's out there at 81, 82. McCartney's still out there. You guys are kids. You got a lot of runway still ahead of you, so let's go.
I need you here, Eddie, twice a day to get me onto the freaking elliptical machine and make me work out.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. Well, guys, it's before I let you go, anything you want to tell the fans, anything you want to wrap up with? We'll start with you, Gil.
Going to be really nice to see you on the road. Looking forward to it.
Rick, anything you want to add?
Well, I hope that they're going to come expecting to sing loud and give us their energy. I mean, that's the big thing, right? Like, you want to get in front of a crowd because they can give you something that you can't get anywhere else. Mike talked about this earlier. So I'm looking forward to some of that. That's the juice of life right there.
Mike, anything you want to add?
Hey, Triumph loves you.
I'll tell you, I said to people so many times, there's no way they're going to do it. There's no way they're coming back, and I'm happy you proved me wrong. So welcome back, Triumph, and we'll continue to follow the story. We'll continue to put the news out to everybody. And again, the tour starts April 22nd in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Final date as of now, June 6th in Boston. Extensive dates in Canada and the U.S. Nothing West Coast yet, but Rick Emmett is going to make sure that they get to the West Coast. You just heard him say it, so he's taking that on. Guys, it's always a pleasure. I'm holding you to it, Rick.
Okay.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And anything you need, you know where to find me. And I can't wait to see you guys out there playing. And I'm super excited. And I know, and most of my audience knows, the other three guys are going to be joining you. Great friends, regulars on this show, great musicians. So it's going to be supersized, awesome extra edition of Triumph coming your way. And again, get your tickets. The general on sale is this coming Friday, and check and see about what the pre-sales are all about. And what are the official Triumph websites people should keep an eye on? Which one of you guys knows all that? Mike, you know the web outlets? Gil, triumphmusic.com
is the one to look for.
Okay, so that's the best place to go. And social media, because Gil, you were teasing this pretty good leading into today. If people saw on social media, you guys all were seeing you in there with the kid and the drums, something big's coming. So you got everybody all ramped up, and you certainly delivered today with the news. So thank you, guys.
Thanks for having me on, Eddie.
Thanks, Eddie.
Well, thanks to Gil, Mike, and Rick, Triumph currently on tour. That tour is out there right now. We know Phil X and Brent Fitz and Todd Kearns are all filling out that lineup. So far to date, we have not seen Mike Levine perform at any shows with them. Hopefully he'll be able to join, and maybe more Triumph dates coming in the near future as well. We will see. But that's how it all started with the announcement of their reunion on Trunk Nation back in December. We got to take a break. Next up on the Best of Trunk Nation, it's Uncle Ted.
Here at Trunk Nation, we understand the uncontrollable urge to call, but don't, because Eddie's not here. This is the Best of Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, Sirius XM's Faction Talk. Welcome back to the Best of Trunk Nation. So good, you have to hear it again. Faction Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Eddie Trunk on the Best of Trunk Nation on this Wednesday. I am off tomorrow, but back live with you guys for a free-for-all Friday on Friday. All right, let's get you another interview on the Best of Show. This one comes from March of 2025. It is always great to talk rock music with the one and only Ted Nugent. And yes, when Uncle Ted joins us, we always keep it to rock music. So don't worry, we are a politics-free zone here on Trunk Nation. Happy to keep it that way, of course. And with Ted, he's all about rock music. He's all about the history of rock music. He is a great rock music historian. And Ted is a guy that has said he is done touring, but Ted now has about 15 concert dates coming up this year. So with that, let's go to him right now. Here is Ted Nugent. It is great to welcome back to the program a man who always drops unbelievably insightful and fantastic rock knowledge on us. He's a true historian of the world of rock music, and he, of course, is a legendary performer in his own right, who thankfully is going to be doing some more live shows. I didn't think we're going to get any more live shows from this guy, but he is going to do a handful of dates. We're going to talk about that and more with the one and only Uncle Ted, Ted Nugent. Ted, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing so good, Eddie. A big salute to my fellow real music lover. God bless you, my friend.
Well, listen, man, I'm glad that, we're talking right now because last time I talked to you, you were doing a tour that you said was going to be your last. You wanted to wind down a little bit. You wanted to be home more. You wanted to be with your dogs more. And you did come up with a run of dates here, though, to fire up the band again in Texas and Michigan. Tell us about that decision.
Well, I remember the conversations. I love my conversations with you, Eddie, because you're like the Grand Trunk Railroad of real music lovers. And we celebrate that unification of all those people out there that still love heart and soul, piss and vinegar, real rhythm and blues, soul music, rock and roll. But I never use the word retire. I mean, we had a great conversation. We had so many conversations. But a lot of people, how come you're going to play again? You said you were going to retire. I've never used the R word. I made it quite clear that I still crave to play. In fact, this morning I was playing through a Gibson Birdland, through a Fender amp, and my feet never touched the ground. I'm still absolutely stimulated by the pursuit of musical guitar adventure. So with Jason Hartless and Johnny Big and my buddy here, John Kutz in Texas, we're going to do a bunch of rock outs in Texas in April and May, and then in Michigan and maybe beyond in August. But yeah, I still play. But as you stated, I need to be home to my damn dogs every day. When I leave home, my dogs look so sad. And when I come home, they just about blow up, running and barking and turning in circles. So I have my priorities. This year, I will break 7,000 rock outs. I will go over the 7,000 mark. So I'm an old man. I'm 76, but I still crave grabbing that guitar and playing these grinds and grooves and flame-throwing fun music, man.
Well, you're 76 in great shape with still great energy and attitude, and there's no reason why you shouldn't play. Last few times I saw you play, you're still bringing it. I've always maintained, as long as you're still good and it's real and it's live and it's raw and you're still living up to your legacy, there's no reason why anybody should stop. I saw the Stones last summer. I couldn't believe how good they still were, and those guys have years on you. So as long as you're still feeling it, why not go do it, right?
Absolutely. You see Sammy Hagar out there, and he's rocking as good as he ever has. And it's about attitude. You nailed it, Eddie. It's about attitude. If you still really, really love the music and you're dedicated to put on a show that earns the money of those ticket buyers, then of course it's the American dream. I got old buddies that still weld. My favorite people are welders. My buddies that are good welders, they still weld, and one of them's 86 years old. So no matter what your American dream is, if you're still able to get such gratification, and God bless the welders, but they'll never feel the sensations that music events create. I mean, the energy at my gigs, I do these rock outs. I just played the national anthem at Mar-a-Lago for a bunch of Hellraisers for Donald Trump, and it was like a gunstock version of Woodstock. These people love the music. They love the guitar playing. They pay attention. And I'm inspired by that. So as long as the inspiration is there, it's like you on Trunk Nation. You do it because you still want to talk about the music that moves your life, that is inspiring to you, the soundtrack for our American dream, our life's adventure. That's still alive and well. I'm a lucky, high energy, healthy guy, and I play my guitar like a horny teenager every time I pick it up.
Well, yeah, you're right. The thing that I like is when people talk to me all the time about this show, and they say that, even though I'll play some clips of music here and there, it's a talk show about rock music. And it's funny because people say to me all the time, like, hearing you talk about it, or hearing the guests you have on, or hearing what they're doing. So, people change as they get older, Ted. I mean, you and I really didn't, but people do. But it maybe re-inspires them to go back and like, hey, you know what? I heard Ted Nugent today, and let me go put on Free for All again. I haven't listened to that in a long time. So, there's a lot of ways you can kind of inspire people through, to maybe bring them back to this a little bit if they've drifted later in life.
It sounds like you're talking about this new thing I got going thanks to Jason Hartless called the Nuge Vault. When Jason and I were rehearsing for the Adios Mofo tour with Johnny, we were in my big barn in Michigan, and there's just walls and acres, literally acres of boxes and crates and big giant piles of tapes and videos and CDs and cassettes and stacks of photos and rehearsals and jam sessions. And I had kind of walked past it every day as I do my daily life, but Jason stopped and looked at it and started digging into these boxes. So you're talking about rekindling and remembering those exciting moments. I'm sure when Jagger, he's like in his 80s, when he gets on stage, I'm sure he remembers playing the show with James Brown. I'm sure he remembers recording Last Time and Satisfaction and Street Fighting Man. Well, Jason started pulling out all this stuff from the archives, and so we've got a new thing called the NugeVault.com that I don't even remember some of the photos where they were taken. We had to dig and find out where these photos were taken from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all the way up to the last tour. But it's fascinating to dig back in. In fact, this year, when we play our shows in Michigan and Texas and in Arkansas, we're going to play the whole first solo album. It's 50th year celebration of Stranglehold and that first solo album with the incredible Derek St. Holmes and Cliff Davies and Rob Grange. My God, how lucky can I be? So we're going to play the whole 50th anniversary Ted Nugent first solo album, and then a bunch of other stuff from Crave to Great White Buffalo to the brand new stuff from Detroit Muscle. But you're right. Those musical moments are timeless, and everybody has an exciting memory that has a song that coincides with that. And I have unlimited exciting memories with unlimited exciting songs. So when in doubt, whip it out.
So the Nuge Vault is going to become active, according to what I read, on March 14th, and people can find out more. The site is nugevault.com. Ted, it's funny you're bringing up your archives and doing this, because this is my 41st year in broadcasting, and I have this archive that I've built of all these interviews on all these different formats, whether it's DAT or cassette or CD or VHS, and it's daunting. I do the same thing. I walk past it and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this stuff. I'm 60 years old. I don't know how long I'm going to do this for. I don't know what to do with it. You found something cool to do with it, but one of the biggest challenges is like storing it, restoring it, transferring it, making a chronicle of it, indexing everything. Were you good with your archives? Were you good with your history in terms of the way you stored it and marked it? Is it easy to dig into, or is it going to be a big undertaking?
It's a pain in the ass because we just kind of tossed every year's tours and every rehearsal and every recording session. My crew, my incredible crew, as lucky as I am to have the best musicians at my side forever, I've also had the best, most professional, dedicated work ethic crews. And those crews, what they used to call roadies, these technicians, they're so dedicated to the music. They so love the music. Yeah, they're a guitar tech, they're a luthier, they're a drum tech, they're a carpenter, they're a welder, they're mechanics. But ultimately, the music drives them, just like it drives you, Eddie. And so when Jason started digging into these boxes, his eyes bugged out because who doesn't want to hear the recording of Ted Nugent and Eddie Van Halen backstage in California, or with jamming with Billy Gibbons, and so many amazing things that have taken place that I move on to the next thing. And yeah, I love to play the old songs. I mean, I really love to play them, but I'm coming up with new stuff all the time. I'm looking forward to tomorrow more than I dig into yesterday. But Jason Hartless, what he's doing, digitizing and filing and putting them in series chronologically, what an undertaking. I'm out checking my trap line and filling bird feeders, and he's digging into boxes and digitizing a jam session with the Mothers of Invention at the Fifth Dimension in Ann Arbor in 1967. It's unbelievable. When he shows me this stuff, I get teary-eyed. I go, God, I remember that, hanging out with these guys backstage. What a lucky life. And it's all chronicled, and it's all going to be available at NugVault.com. People are already signing up because if I wasn't me, I'd sign up. I love this stuff.
Well, you're lucky. You're really lucky to have somebody like Jason then, because I'm the same way as you. I always think of the next. I never look back. But then you take that second and you look back and you're like, holy shit, what do I do with all this? There's a guy doing a documentary right now on my career, and he dug into it a little bit, and he's like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what we do with this. So to have somebody to do that for you and to be able to go down memory lane and jar some memories has got to be awesome. You know, you mentioned Van Halen. I don't know if you've heard about this or you follow this, but in the last few days, all sorts of, I don't know where it's coming from, but all sorts of unseen early Van Halen video from 1978, professionally shot, has shown up on YouTube. And I don't know, like, do you have a lot of stuff like that? Like you didn't even know about? Is there like a lot of Nugent video that hasn't come out from back in the day?
Yes. I've seen some video of the original Van Halen playing Parchment Farm by Cactus. And there's not many guitar players that can execute that flurry and fury and outrage, but Eddie nailed it as a young guy. So, yeah, when you see stuff like that, it does rekindle and remind you the work ethic, the dedication of these musicians. And once again, the musicians I've had at my side all these years were maniac work ethic, gung-ho, dedicated virtuosos. And when Jason comes up and shows me a jam session, and we're playing Wang Dang Sweet Poontang in Memphis, 1976, and I go, good God almighty, that is so intense. That's so outrageous. I saw that you used a little clip. Anybody wants to get mellow, turn around, get the fuck out of here. I mean, there's moments like that where I was so out of my mind, so beautifully, so effervescently out of my mind with sheer abandon that why would you not want to see a guy that has absolutely no rules, no constraints, no parameters, just going berserk. And the music is still tight because of Rob and Cliff and Derek. And again, all the bands. We got some footage of the damn Yankees. I mean, Tommy Shaw and Jack Blades and Michael Cardelloni. What musical forces to reckon with, and the fun. I think you could talk about the music, the tightness, the musical adventure, the virtuosity, the talent, the gifts, the delivery, but ultimately the word fun. I have had so much and continue to have so much fun with what Chuck Berry taught me that here it is 2025 and I'm getting a kick out of it like it's the first time I've seen it. And like you said, Eddie, some of this stuff I had never seen before. And Jason's digging out. By the way, he's a hard-working son of a bitch, man, because what he's doing, going through my barn and finding all this stuff, taking it to a studio in Nashville, and again, digitizing it all. He was lucky he found a lot of it in time that it still is crisp and it has great audio and great video on some of these VHS tapes and stuff. So, yeah, this is an exciting time. But I don't dwell on the past, but as you just articulated, when you're reminded of that energy of our youth in the past, it makes tomorrow's music better. It makes my next musical adventure going, yeah, just play that raw riff that a kid's first starting out would play. And that's usually the best riff of all.
Yeah. Hey, Ted, for younger people that don't remember or know about what you did in the 70s, especially, like you were an arena headliner, a stadium headliner, but your shows were unbelievably, like as a younger man, you were just nonstop movement and you swung from ropes. And I was listening to Joe Rogan recently. He was talking to somebody about you riding a buffalo out on stage. Of all the stuff you've done on stage, did you ever feel like in danger, or did you ever get seriously hurt, or were there ever anything you did on stage live where you're like, maybe this wasn't the smartest idea once you got into it?
All of the above, yes. I'm sitting here talking to you right now with 2 new knees because I didn't know what a meniscus was until my athletic doctor said, you don't have any meniscus left. Jumping off those amps 5, 10, 20 times a night, they were way up there. People called them Marshalls. I was jumping off a Fender Twins stacked on top of Fender Dual Showman amps, going up to a drum riser that was 5 feet off the ground, and I could do a standing leap in my youth. I was like Bruce Lee with a birdland. I mean, the running, the athleticism, the ramps. We created the whole ramp thing on stage because I was so hyper, so driven by the rhythms that my incredible band provided that you can't stand there and play. Coming down out of the ceiling at Cobo Hall in the 80s, my hair got caught in the pulley 140 feet up in the air, and I had to literally violently yank out that big shard of hair from the pulley, or I'd have plummeted to the ground and died. Riding the Buffalo on stage at the House of Blues in Chicago, where we're going up the elevator, where the Buffalo's horns were up against my ass, and if he would have sneezed, I'd have been fixed for life. So yeah, there are a lot of things. Jumping on top of my Ford Bronco, opening up at a Whiplash Bash at Cobo Hall, I jumped way up on top. And in the dark, I just leaped wildly, blindly off that big, giant lifted Ford Bronco and hit the stage. So I should have died, maybe 30, 40 times. But luckily, I was really healthy and athletic. And like God turned President Trump's head in Butler, Pennsylvania, I think God saved me from killing myself coming out of the ceiling, riding buffaloes on stage, and just the mayhem that we created. But the music is so intense that it drives you. It's like when I raced off-road. If you don't push yourself to the limit, just short of crashing, you won't win the race. You have to win an off-road race if you push yourself to dangerous, near-death limits to come in first. I couldn't have told you that was my approach back then, but that was my approach back then.
Had you before? I didn't know you rode the Buffalo in Chicago. Where do you get a Buffalo in Chicago and bring it into the House of Blues? Like, how do you even talk to the promoter about that? How does that work?
It's so hysterical. I met this guy that raised this buffalo from a calf from a herd in South Dakota at a governor's fundraiser out in South Dakota many, many years ago. And he rode this giant buffalo, 2,000-pound South Dakota angry bison bull. And it was very impressive because he taught Chief, the buffalo, to do tricks because he raised it from a calf. He literally bottle-fed it. His mother had died in the wilderness from disease or wolves or something. And so he would carry it and really, really imprinted on it. Really, he was his best friend. Well, when I saw him ride that buffalo at this fundraiser for a military charity, I said, boy, I need to ride that buffalo because I've hunted buffalo with the Native Americans and killed the buffalo and shared the incredible, perfect, sacred protein with the Indian nation and with soup kitchens and homeless shelters. So I know the ultimate use of a buffalo is food. But they're also a mystical, dynamic, majestic presence. It's the only animal that looks for a storm and heads into the storm. I like that. That's my life in a nutshell. So Jerry acclimated me to Chief, brought him to my farm in Michigan, and slowly but surely I got closer and closer where Chief would sniff my hand without trying to kill me. And then eventually Jerry got Chief to accept me, and I got on him and rode him across the prairies during a snowstorm. Eddie, talking about the spirit of the wild, talking about connecting with these majestic beasts. And I know some people don't think you should domesticate wild animals, but we do. We can, we do. And if it's done with reverence and done with respect and taken real genuine care of these animals, then there's a place for that. Well, we decided to take them on the road, and you got to realize when we go on stage, the thundering, the drums are the Gibson Birdlands feeding back like an angry beast, noise, and the lights are flashing, and the crowd's going nuts, and Chief would come out, and I'd be on his back going, holy shit, I hope he doesn't get pissed off and kill me or the first four rows. But luckily, I had spent so much time riding him that he came to accept me and even accept the chaos and the outrage of a rock and roll concert. And people would witness me come out riding Chief on stage. I did it like, 30, 40 times, maybe more, all around the country. And people didn't know whether to shit or go blind. They go, what in God's name is Nugent doing now? But it represented, ultimately, the encore is a song called Great White Buffalo. It's about a majestic beast that finds the battered herd and saves that battered herd from the white men that were trying to destroy the buffalo, to destroy the Native Americans. So there's a real physics of spirituality in my relationship with the bison overall. And to see it between my legs, I mean, Eddie, what an experience that was. And there's footage of that. There's footage of me being trained to ride Chief without him killing me, and footage of him backstage with his eyes all glowing and looking for trouble. It's out of body. I mean, never been anything like it in the history of entertainment, I don't think, especially in the world of rock and roll. So Jason's uncovering a bunch of footage, a bunch of moments with Chief, and he finally died years later, and I do believe that we sautéed some of him. I mean.
Oh, Jesus. I figured there was more. I figured
that drives my barbecue.
Yeah, right. I figured you didn't roll into a show and just have, I need a buffalo on the rider. Promoters, did any of the promoters give you a hard time about it and say, no, we don't want that here? Did you have any issues?
No, there never was, because they knew that my crew, my team, my management, and they discussed it with Jerry, who was the owner of the Buffalo, and he articulated that he'd done many, many rodeos, many, many public presentations and entertainment venues, so the Buffalo was ready for, even though it was a new level of intensity, that none of the promoters loved the idea. They thought, well, this is outrageous. Let's do this. So it was a lot. It added another level of insanity and fun while definitely taking care of Chief. I mean, we transported him in his own trailer. He had the ultimate of care. We took it slow and easy. He had the best hay and the best food in the world. And we got along just great. And people just loved those shows when they saw a buffalo between my legs. How cool is that?
We were talking on this show, Ted, a couple days ago, we were talking about the great live albums of the 70s. And of course, you have one of those with Double Live Gonzo. So when you went into the Nuge Vault, is there anything from Gonzo that didn't make the record? And is there full video? Did you shoot those shows as well at that time?
Yes, and yes. And Jason showed me some of that stuff, and I didn't know that we captured some of that stuff, and I didn't know there were so many different songs that didn't end up on the album that we have recordings of, and they're outrageous. Once again, would Cliff and Rob represent the greatest rhythm section of all time? I think so. And Derek's vocals and his guitar playing, holy shit. If I wasn't me, I'd go see that band every night. So, yeah, we captured a lot of that stuff, and that'll be part of the Nuge Vault. And Jason's having a riot finding this stuff and digitizing it and cleaning it up. I don't know how he does it, technically speaking, but, boy, he's done a wonderful job. He really is a technician.
You talk about Van Halen, who, of course, you took out on one of their first tours, and you told me once a story about you and Eddie changing each other's guitars, and you trying to play his guitar, him trying to play the Birdland. But the other day, I had a call into this show, and somebody brought up the Scorpions, and they said the first time they ever saw Scorpions was opening for you, and I think that was the first time they had come to America. Was that the case? Did you take them on their first tour, do their first shows with them?
Yeah, there's a bunch of those bands. Golden Earring came over for the first time. AC/DC's first 3 tours were opening for me. Def Leppard. I mean, I have I been to the mountaintop or what? Just the best bands in the world. And remember, when these bands open for me, or when I open for them, we watch each other. I mean, I'm a music lover. That's why you and I get along. We love music. We know what goes into creating these musical moments in our lives. And so, yeah, I sponged and appreciated and really reveled in all those incredible bands. All those bands that came over to the States, they opened for me their first multiple tours. So I'm very proud of that.
And Ted, speaking as you're such a historian of rock, and I love, hearing about the old days from you and even the roots of rock and roll. So the other day, I'm not a nominator, but I am a voter for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I have a lot of issues with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but to their credit, they've made me a voter. One of my issues is I think you should be in it and you haven't been nominated yet. And I don't know where I'd love your thoughts on that. But beyond that, one of the guys that is on the ballot this year that I was shocked wasn't in already was Chubby Checker. And there were a number of people that had hit me up and said, that guy should be in. And then there were some people that pushed back and said, well, maybe not. He's really known for the one big song and all of that. I don't know. I feel like that's just such the roots of rock and roll that he should be there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, number one, I've never made the case that I should be in it because I should be in it. I don't even have to make the case. If you just have a list of credentials, a list of accomplishments, I certainly should have been in before Madonna or Grandmaster Flash, but I never make the case for me. I make the case for Jim McCarty and Mitch Ryder. I make the case for Triumph and REO Speedwagon and Styx. I make the case for all these real rock and roll. It says Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they've basically pissed on Chuck Berry's grave, the way I look at it. It's inexcusable. So thank God you're on there and Tom Morello's on there, and they can help make decisions that cling to and show respect for the term rock and roll. But Chubby Checker, if he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but Grandmaster Flash, and I'm not knocking Grandmaster Flash, maybe I am, but there's a bunch of people that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that is just sacrilege. It's just rude. It's dishonest. It's pissing in the face of Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard and all these magnificent real rock and roll masters. So Chubby Checker certainly qualifies as an all-American, historical, iconic rock and roll master. So he should certainly be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, we voted for him. Tom, I know you're friends with Morello. I am as well. Tom is on the nominating committee. So Tom is a guy that could get you on a ballot. I get the ballot and I just vote on what they give me. But you have a friendship with Tom, right? You guys talk.
Yeah, we do. We keep in touch. I admire his work ethic, his dedication to his craft. He's a smart guy. He's a family guy. He provides for him, protects his family. So we got a lot of things in common that fall under the heading of truth, logic, common sense, and piss and vinegar and real music. So he made a case one time on Howard Stern's show that he actually phrased it. Well, he said, I suppose you could make a case for Ted Nugent being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, you suppose, do you? I don't know where you would get that supposition, but again, I'm referencing the difference between real rock and rollers and people who are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that have nothing to do with rock and roll. Whether it's Madonna or Grandmaster Flash, I mean, if it's about your impact on the creation of Chuck Berry, that was the next step from the Howlin' Wolf and the Lightnin' Hopkins and the original black creators of uppity blues and gospel that turned into rock and roll. And Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley, Little Richard perfected it. So did Elvis. So did Jerry Lee Lewis. And so did Chubby Checker. And so did Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, that they're not in it, that Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because Mitch Ryder's still out there rocking his balls off. Jim McCarty and Johnny Bonangic of the original Detroit Wheels, they're still out rocking their balls off. And that they're not in it is it's just rude. It's dishonest. So if you list the credentials of why any real rock and roller is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think we can come to the conclusion, honestly, that REO and Triumph and Styx should be in it. And I think I
Grand
should be
Funk.
in it, but I don't
Of course
sweat
you.
it.
Of course you should be in it, but Grand Funk, I mean, you being a Michigan guy, I mean, Grand Funk has never even been on a ballot. Jay Giles, Meatloaf, who of course sang on your records early on, as you mentioned, Styx, REO, it's endless. I mean, so you're in good company not being in there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think Grand Funk, I keep in touch with Mark Farner all the time. He's a musical force and just a great man, and their music is the definitive soundtrack of real American rock and roll. And I don't know how the internet and the Wi-Fi stuff works, but when I turn my phone on, I get stuff. Stuff shows up on my phone. I have no idea how it shows up, but it does show up. And when there's a reference or a thread about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I would say out of thousands of statements, Grand Funk Railroad is referenced more than anybody. How can the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominating committee not know that? How can they not know that?
Yeah, and Bad Company finally on a ballot, and we'll see if they make it, but this is the first time they're on a ballot, so we'll see what happens. Ted, just a couple more things, and I'll let you go. Again, going back to the old days, I remember I used to love playing the Ted Nugent pinball machine. Do you still have one of those?
Yeah, the concept of people slamming my metal balls back and forth every night is really inspiring. Yeah, there's a bunch of those out there. I've signed a bunch of people, track me down, and they get me on the road, and I autograph their Ted Nugent pinball machine. Yeah, I think my daughter has one, and my taxidermist. Do you have a taxidermist? I have a taxidermist. One of my taxidermists has a Ted Nugent pinball machine. So yeah, that was a cute little era. I like having a pinball machine like Kiss. I don't know how many other rock and rollers have a pinball machine, but I know Kiss and me and we have them.
Well, back then, in those days, when your pinball machine was out, late 70s or whenever that was, it was rare. You had one, Kiss had one, Elton John had one, the Stones had one, so you were in good company. These days, the new modern machines, there's a bunch of them. There's a Rush one, there's a Metallica one, Guns N' Roses, but I love pinball, and I remember it taking me back as a kid growing up on the Jersey Shore on the boardwalk, playing the Kiss machine, playing the Nugent machine. Those were a lot of fun, and it was such a cool thing if you're a rock fan and to see these bands you loved having these really cool machines with the lights and the music. It was awesome.
Here's one for you, Eddie Trunk. I hope Tom Morello is listening. But if a rock and roll artist has a pinball machine, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How's that?
There's a great criteria right there. One last thing. You mentioned you still play and you're always looking forward, and now you've got these dates, and I'm going to run the dates down for everybody here before I let you go. But do you have a desire to still make new music? Have you thought about making a new record?
Oh, I'm making new music all the time. I got a bunch of instrumental stuff and some sassy, nasty, bluesy, grinding rock and roll rhythm and blues songs. Yeah, with guys like Jason Hartless and Johnny Big and Greg Smith and John Kutz here in Texas, with the bands that I get to jam with. As soon it's the same as 1958, Eddie, when I didn't know much about the landscape of the Fender Duosonic guitar neck and my Fender Bassman amplifier that I performed with the Motown Orchestra at Cobo Hall in '64. When I would get to the rehearsal with my band, the Lures, my dogs love that, by the way. I would plug in my Fender Duosonic, and immediately, even though I only knew some of the rudimentary Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley grinding licks, I would immediately kind of bastardize them, and do a variation of the overview of a Chuck Berry grind. And that was 1958. Well, every year since then, since 1958, it probably started before that, playing at the Rosedale Community Center. I played a solo. I played the Ventures songs at the Rosedale Park Community Center in 1957. Anyhow, when I pick up the guitar, I leave the normal world. I am so eager to lay my hands on a fret and pluck it, and not strum. I don't play folk music or country music. I don't strum. I kind of pummel. I kind of grind that you hear in the introduction guitar licks of all my songs. So 3 days ago, with my band here in Texas, we got together, and as soon as I plugged in, that Birdland starts making noise because it's a hollow body. It starts making all this wonderful noise, and I have to back away from it so I can contain the feedback. And immediately my hands start playing brand new licks, and every song you've ever heard on every Ted Nugent album and the Damn Yankees, whether it's my Damn Yankee sidekicks or my Ted Nugent band sidekicks or just a jam session, they go, "What is that? What is that you just played?" And I go, "I have no idea, but it's cool as shit." So yeah, I can't stop myself. I literally pick up the guitar and grooves happen, grind, patterns come out. That's why all my songs start with a guitar pattern. All my favorite music does start with a guitar pattern, whether it's an Aerosmith or a ZZ Top or the Stones or the Beatles or the Who or the Kinks or AC/DC or Van Halen, whatever it is. My favorite music starts with a rhythmical, inescapable guitar grind. And it happened this morning. I have a 60th birthday Birdland that Gibson made for me through these custom amps that I'm dicking around with. And it started making – I have a Ted Nugent Real America Voice Spirit Campfire podcast, and I play my guitar. I don't know, go to realamericavoice.com or whatever, but I'm doing it every week. And I pick up the guitar, and things happen. So, yeah, I'm making new music. I'm going to get in the studio. We got some maniac technicians here in Waco, Texas, and we're going to go in and capture some of this stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if I can call Eddie Trunk and go, "Hey, Eddie, here's a new song. Play it."
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. You mentioned Damn Yankees a couple times. It's a band that people always ask me about. You got up with – didn't you get up with Night Ranger and do one? And I think you got up with Styx and did one, right?
Absolutely. They're my dear, dear friends. They're very inspiring musically and just as great gentlemen. And Michael Cardelloni with Leonard Skinner. Yeah, Night Ranger's on the road all the time. In fact, I'm doing a military fundraiser in Jackson, Michigan, I think September 6th, for my John Bailey excavating friend. And Night Ranger is performing, and I will get up there. We'll play Cat Scratch Fever and Coming of Age, and we'll play Damn Yankees song. I might get up there and play Still Rockin' America with them. So, yeah, I get up. I mean, who's going to stop me? You know, I mean, I got a guitar. I'm going to come up on stage and plug up your ass if I have to.
Well, I see those guys all the time. Actually, I'm going to see them next week because they're on a cruise that I'm hosting, Monsters of Rock cruise. So it's always good seeing them, and they're still bringing it. And I'm actually doing something with Styx.
Amazing band. But, Eddie, I got to tell you, God bless you guys for going on those cruise ship rockouts, because I look at it as a cruise gig as a jail on the water. I wouldn't get on that damn boat. I turned down a lot of great offers. I can't imagine getting on that boat. Good for you.
I love them. It's you got to go to understand it. It's not like that. It's like a resort on water. You don't even know. It's great. You love it. You should do it.
Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, except me.
You can hunt whales or something off the side of the boat if you want.
Okay, I'll bring my harpoon and my guitar.
Yeah. There you go. You can shoot stuff in the water. Ted Nugent cruise. Everybody just takes their bows and you just shoot the stuff in the water. You can pull up the fish. There you go.
we actually do that. It's a great sport. Bow fishing. We shoot sharks and we shoot big game and invasive species, but it's a huge sport. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, bow fishing.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, there you go. There's your angle. And then you play, the band plays on the stage, and you got a Nugent concert. It's perfect. Speaking of Nugent.
Helicopter me in for one day.
Speaking of Nugent concerts, here's the dates. You've got April 5th in St. Joe, Texas, the 25th of April, Orange Grove, Texas, 26th, Cristoval, Texas. Then you go into May 10th, Buda, Texas, May 17th, El Dorado, Arkansas, and then a couple in August, the 29th, Ludington, Michigan, and the 30th, Paw Paw, Michigan. So those are the dates so far. Tickets, VIPs, more information on the Nuge Vault. It's all at tednugent.com. Do you hope to add more shows? Could we see a few more get sprinkled in at some point?
Yeah, there are a bunch of new ones. I'll send you the list. But these are called the Ted Nugent Shit Kicker Speakeasy Rockouts, where we just get up there, play all kinds of music, my classics, damn Yankee stuff, James Brown, Rolling Stones, Beatles stuff, the original stuff that we all learned our guitar playing on. So, yeah, Ted Nugent Shit Kicker Speakeasies in Texas. I'll send you the whole list in Texas in April and May. And then in August, we're doing, I think, at least 6 or 8 in Michigan. And, again, I do them because I can get home to my dogs at night. That's the goal.
All right. Well, listen, it's always great to talk to you, Ted. Congrats on everything. Looking forward to seeing you back out on the road. Hopefully somewhere I can catch one of these things. And again, the Nuge Vault, I love that kind of archival stuff. That's really, really awesome. All the best to you and the family, Ted. Thanks for the time. Always good to chat.
Yeah, thanks to you, and a big salute to you, Eddie, for keeping that music craving alive, man. Us music lovers love how you dissect it and celebrate it. You're doing God's work, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Live it up.
Bye-bye. There he goes, everybody. Ted Nugent. Always good to talk to Ted. Always good stuff in there. And at 76, still bringing the energy, still making music, thinking about new music, and still doing scattered dates. And he's right. He never did say he was retiring. He didn't do like a farewell tour. It was the end of large-scale touring. But he just, as you heard, wants to get home, wants to get back to his dogs, his family, what have you, and trying to do stuff that he can kind of run out, do the date, and get back. Well, really, Ted Nugent is a guy that, if life was fair, would absolutely and should absolutely be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can say that as well about Triumph, who were on earlier in the show. But Nugent never even nominated. Triumph never even nominated. I think different reasons for both, but both totally worthy when you think about it. Appreciate Ted giving us some time. That interview was from March of last year, and the Triumph interview as well. Both bands touring this year. So Triumph out there right now, Ted with dates as well. Keep an eye on your local listings. See if they are headed your way. Thank you for listening to the Best of Trunk Nation on this Wednesday. Tomorrow, another Best of. We're going to go back to 2022, an LA invasion from the SiriusXM studios in Los Angeles, featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, the entire band, including live performances. Get ready for that tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on Faction Talk 103 or the SiriusXM app. We'll catch you then.